Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. It's a lovely day today, I suppose. It's another lovely day. We are now into the summer, so I expect most days to be nice now. I'm just going to change my seating area just a little bit. I hope everyone's doing well. And yeah. So guys, welcome to today's lesson. That reminds me, I need to share the lesson so more people can join the lesson. Let me know who is watching. Today, we're going to look at idioms. Now, these are idioms that you can use in everyday conversation, actually, that can actually help you with your English as well. So it's going to do I think today's lesson will definitely be helpful. Irina says, hello, Irina. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you for joining. I hope you are well. And shared, okay. Alejandra says, hi, Alejandra. Welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very much for joining. And Quintero Jorge is here as well. Hello, good afternoon. So, yes, I'll give people just a couple more minutes. If, by the way, you have any questions at any point in the lesson, just ask. Hello, Laiz Medeiros. Welcome back again. Lovely to see you back here again. Irina as well. Hi, welcome to today's lesson. Thank you very much for joining. So, yes, guys, we are looking at idioms. Now, in case you don't know what an idiom is is a phrase, words put together that has a meaning. That usually, if you put them together, they wouldn't make sense. But because they do go together, they create a meaning. And this is a meaning and phrase that we can use. Stefano says, good afternoon, dear teacher. Good afternoon, Stefano. Welcome to today's lesson. So the first idiom is going to be the idiom that is on the thumbnail. Now, the thumbnail is always the card on a YouTube video. In this case, the thumbnail has a picture of a boat, and the idiom is, we missed the boat. So that is the first idiom we're going to look at, miss the boat. Now, miss the boat, we could probably use it in a normal sentence and it would make sense to say we missed the boat. We missed the boat. That could be a physical thing. In case you don't know, miss. What does miss mean in this case? Miss, of course, is when, let's say, your flight is at 10 a.m., but you get to the airport too late. So the plane leaves without you. Alejandro asks, when the people is fat? No, it doesn't have anything to do with, it has nothing to do with weight. No, it has nothing to do with weight. But nonetheless, thank you. That's a good question. But no, it's not. It's nothing to do with people's weight. If there's a translation back into Spanish, though, if you thought of that because of maybe a translation into Spanish, let me know, because that would be really interesting to see. But yes, miss or to miss something is, for instance, your flight is at 10 a.m., but you get to the airport too late, so the plane leaves without you. Another example is maybe you have a birthday, your friend has a birthday party, but you can't go to the birthday party, so you miss the birthday party. So you don't attend something, and that's what the word miss means. And of course, you could have the physical act of missing the boat. Let's say if you want to get onto the boat, but you do it very badly and you fall into the water. Then you would also miss the boat. But what does this idiom mean, and why can we use it in everyday conversation? Well, it actually can be used in for many. We can use it in many different scenarios. But one area that we definitely can use is business. In particular, we can definitely use it with marketing. We can definitely use it when it comes to sales, and we can also use it with product development. So I'm going to give you three examples of how we can use this in your work life. Okay. So, for instance, let's think of the situation. Okay. Evelina says, good afternoon, Evelina. Okay. You've got let's say you are a company and you are producing a product, but you are too slow. You are too slow with producing a modern day product. So, for instance, a prime example, okay, is iPhone and Nokia. Nokia missed the boat with the new type of mobile phones. So if you guys remember back in the, let's say, 90s and early 2000s, so like between 1990, let's say 98 and 2005, okay, I remember in Europe, Nokia were number one. They were with the old type of phones. And then iPhone came out with a flat screen, and it was a new type of phone, what we would call a new generation of technology. And Nokia were very slow to come out with a phone that was going to be as good as iPhone. And because they were slow, they missed the boat. So that's one example. Product development, you can miss the boat. Some of us miss the boat completely. Yes, you can do, but let's give this a bit of a context. This is not to understand something. This is to produce something. So let's say, for instance, Jorge says also BlackBerry missed the boat. That's a really good sentence and a very good example. There was a point when BlackBerry, just before iPhone, BlackBerry was becoming number one and they were too slow. They missed the boat. And I think that's a good way to think about it. Miss the boat is being too slow to make a positive change in something. So, for example, in the coronavirus period, this was a difficult period. Now, if a language school, for example, didn't change the way we give lessons, if we didn't jump to YouTube, if we didn't jump to giving lessons on Zoom, for example, and we did nothing, then you miss the boat. Then you miss the boat of change. So that would be, again, another type of service. Now, when it comes to marketing, another way that you can miss the boat is the change in terms of the way people market. So if any of you are in marketing or part of your job is marketing, you know that social media is a really big part of it. But some companies, if you remember, before social media became what it is today, so let's say we go back maybe 10 years, for example, even as little as 10 years, the main social media platform 10 years ago probably was Facebook and maybe Twitter. Instagram, I don't think was around 10 years ago. But some companies were really slow to change their marketing approach, and therefore they missed the boat. They were too slow to change, and people ended up doing better than them. So that's what we mean by miss the boat. Now, what's going to be interesting is after the coronavirus, if we look at airlines or travel, the travel industry, there's going to be a lot of changes to the travel industry. And some companies will miss the boat. They're going to be too slow to make the changes that they need in order to do well after coronavirus. So that's what we mean by to miss the boat. If you guys have any examples of any companies you know that missed the boat, let me know. So with that, let's go on to the next idiom. And the next idiom I'm going to introduce you guys to is pull someone's leg. Okay, pull someone's leg. You can also say, I'm just pulling your leg. What does this mean? It means I'm joking. So, for instance, you might say, for example, okay, I'll give you an example. In Modern Family, okay, with what's her name? Sofia Vergara, the Colombian actress, okay. She plays someone named Gloria, and her husband is pulling her leg about Colombian traditions. So she decides to pull his leg about a Colombian tradition that isn't real, but she makes him look stupid. So that would be one example of pulling your leg or pulling someone's leg. Another example as well is, for example, having fun with someone, joking, and making, it's not telling a joke, by the way. It's not like knock, knock, who's there, that sort of joke. It's a joke whereby you are, for a short period of time, you are making someone believe something that isn't true, and it's funny. And that's what we mean by pulling someone's leg. Stefano says, I hope, dear teacher, AM is going to give online lessons this autumn in order not to miss the boat, as all schools are rearranging their way of tuition. Well, Stefano, first of all, excellent. Really good sentence. Really good sentence. As for online lessons and so on and so forth, we are advertising. We are giving online lessons at the moment. However, we are hoping we are hoping as a language school that we can go back to teaching physical lessons as soon as possible properly. I think that's the big thing about online. Online is what we would call a good second choice, but it's never going to be the first choice, because the point of AM language has always been the community, people coming from different parts of the world to be in Malta and to enjoy the actual experience of being in a place. And that is still what we want to give students. So online is a good second choice, and we're going to do that. We'll continue to do that for now, but we are hoping that we can go back to selling what we really want to. Well, we hope that we can go back to giving the service that we really want to give, and that is the physical classroom experience, and people coming to Malta to enjoy the experience of meeting people from different parts of the world. Irina says, my grandfather is always pulling my leg when he comes to visit us. Excellent sentence. Excellent sentence. I myself, I am an uncle, and I enjoy pulling my niece's legs all the time, especially over movies. Especially Marvel movies. One of them really likes Marvel movies, so I like to pull her leg a lot about certain characters, like what are the characters, like Captain America, for example. For instance, she really likes Captain America. I don't really care, but I like to pull her leg about Captain America. So that is another idiom. Okay, so we're off to a good start. Let's see. Or which one would be a good one to use from here? Okay, this is a good one that I think you definitely can use in everyday conversation, and you can certainly use this in class with your teacher. Wrap your head around that. Evelina says, for us students, it is very important to listen to speak English for pronunciation. Yes, absolutely, definitely. The best way really is always, I would say briefly, before I go back to explaining the idiom, I would say a very good way to help you guys to improve your pronunciation and to improve your listening is sometimes action, and this is where movies can be really good. Think of the type of, let's say you know an actress or an actor from your country who speaks English very well, or who speaks the same first language as you and speaks English very well. I would say watch those movies of that actor or actress and listen to their pronunciation and then listen to yours. The reason being is that you are going to have your first language accent and pronunciation is there. And that's part of you. What's really good to see when you watch actors from your own country who can speak English is hearing how they have gone about pronouncing words in English, because they would have had to go through the same process as you, and you can actually end up learning a lot from them, especially how to, maybe if there's particular sounds that are difficult, what do they do? And so it can be a really good one. So that is a strong recommendation, guys. When developing your English and the way you try to pronounce words, if you know actors or actresses who speak good English, who might appear actually in English, American, Australian movies, for example, watch them and listen to see what they do with their voice, because they can be a really good learning tool, and I strongly recommend it. Okay, so this idiom here, wrap your head around something. First of all, what do we mean by wrap? Okay, now this is a W, but wrap actually has a silent W, okay? We pronounce it like this, wrap. Okay, so the W is silent. But first of all, what is wrap? Okay, now you can wrap a present, but this would be a wrapping, okay? You wrap something around something. So that is the physical example of wrapping, to wrap. You will also find that, for instance, if you go to have Mexican or Chinese food, they have something called wraps. So you put your food in the middle, you close it, you wrap it, and you eat it. So that's a wrap. Now, what does this idiom mean, though? To wrap your head around something. Well, to wrap your head around something simply means to try to understand something. Okay? Now, for instance, the pronunciation of English can be difficult to wrap your head around it, because because the spelling and the pronunciation is often very different. And you've got silent W's, for example, or the silent T. So if you don't for instance, you can sometimes, maybe in your class, for example, you can say, for instance, teacher, sorry, but I am having a hard time wrapping my head around that, for example. Maybe that might be the present perfect, for example. Sorry, teacher, but I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the present perfect. Maybe you have a hard time wrapping your head around prepositions. If you do, don't worry. Most people do, including English people. Um, so that's what we mean by wrapping your head around something. And then, of course, it depends what the subject is. If it's cooking, for example, in my case, if it's baking, I have a hard time wrapping my head around baking, just baking in general. I'm not very good at baking. I can cook, but I'm not good at baking a cake, for example. Alejandro says, it's similar to I have my head with my many things. Similar to I have my head with many things. Oh, you have too much in your head. Do you mean I have too much in my head? Is that what you mean? Because it's not the same as you're thinking about too many things. It simply means that you're finding it difficult. You're finding it difficult to understand something. I mean, for instance, let's say maybe let's say maths, for example. You're trying to learn something in maths, and you're trying to learn something very complicated with Pythagoras's theory or algebra. You might find it hard to wrap your head around it. If you are studying, for example, let's say you're studying a science-based, maybe biology or chemistry, there might be some things that are difficult to wrap your head around. To figure my head around something, yes, I see what you're going for. I would say if you're going to use the word figure, I would change it. I would say it's hard to figure out. That's what if we're going to use figure, we would use this. It's hard to figure out, which means it's hard to work out. Like but that has more of a meaning of it's a difficult problem to solve, for example. Now, one of the things, for instance, I tell you what, feel free to tell me what you find hard to wrap your head around in English. For instance, when I was trying to learn some Spanish before I went to South America, I found it really hard to wrap my head around the verb to be. For instance, estuvo, eres, and so on and so forth. I found that a little bit difficult. I was learning on Duolingo, so I wasn't actually having lessons, which was probably part of the problem. But I had a hard time trying to wrap my head around the verb to be. When I was learning Italian, again, that was not successful. I had a hard time wrapping my head around the different endings of the different verbs formations. So that's just some examples there. So that's what we mean, to wrap your head around something. Oh, sometimes maybe it's someone just trying to explain a story. I mean, you can have a hard time wrapping your head around a story that someone is trying to tell you. Maybe because either they're telling a lie or they're not very good at telling stories. So that is another idiom that you can definitely use. Okay. Right. So I'm going to go for one more. And then what I'm going to do is we're then just going to have a little word challenge. I'm going to write a word, and then one of the words, it would have it would be a word that we've used today that's within the idiom. I just want to see if you guys can remember what idiom can we make with that word. So this is the last idiom that I'm going to go with today, and that is your guess is as good as mine. This is really good for, quite simply, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Now, when can we use this? Well, we can use this for lots of things, but it's usually when we don't know when something in the future is going to happen. For instance, and I would say that is the best context to use this. Your guess is as good as mine, meaning I don't know what the answer is going to be in the future. So you guys, for instance, you might have a conversation about when will there be a vaccine, a coronavirus vaccine, for example. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. You might say, you might be having a conversation saying about travel. When will we be able to travel again? Your guess is as good as mine. You might be saying, when do you think we'll be able to go home? Oh, your guess is as good as mine. So this is a very good idiom to use when we are talking about something to do with the future, and we don't know. We don't know what the answer is. Maybe you're waiting for the next episode or a new series of a series on Netflix. For instance, there's a very good TV series on Netflix called Lucifer, for example. You might be asking the question, when will the next series of Lucifer be released? Oh, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I simply don't know. And that's what we mean. That's what we mean. Now, in case you're not too sure about the word guess, okay, guess is a good word to know, to guess something, okay? For instance, can you guess the answer, for example? To guess simply means to give an answer, but you don't know if the answer is correct. You're just guessing. That's what we mean by guessing. It's a bit like, for instance, you've got a multiple choice question, maybe in a level test. You can put A, B, or C. You don't know what the answer is, but you need to give an answer, so you just guess. So you might circle C, for instance. Irina says, your guess is as good as mine. I answered when my friend asked me how to use the video player. Yeah. Yes, you could use that. Your guess is as good as mine. You can definitely use that for technology. How do you use this? Oh, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know. I don't know how to use this. Yes, definitely. That is a very good example. So yeah, you can use it when you're trying to talk about technology, a new product, a new gadget, or trying to guess the future. You can use it as in the past as well, like a detective can use it. So maybe they go, you've got two detectives. They go along to a crime. They see someone was killed. They don't know what happened. And one detective turns to the other detective and says, well, what happened here? Oh, and the other detective says, well, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea what happened here. So that's what that's how we can use it. Okay, so we can use it to talk about the future that we don't know. We can use it when talking about a gadget, a device, and we don't know how to use it. Or we can use it about a past event when we don't know what happened, for example. So yeah. Right, so I'm now going to write. The way this works is, for instance, if I write guess, you guys then need to write the idiom that we would use with guess, such as your guess is as good as mine. Okay, so this is the first part of the exercise. I'm going to write one word, And from that one word, you guys need to try and write the whole idiom. And from there, we'll then go on to seeing, if we have time, we'll then start seeing if we can add them to a whole sentence, for example. Okay, so let's have a little look. Okay, I'm going to start off with wrap. Okay, guys, so that's the word. I've put in wrap. So you guys now need to try and complete the idiom that we looked at today with wrap. If you want to make it in a simple form, if you want to make it in a continuous form, you can do so. All of which would be accepted. I'm just going to close the door behind me because there's a bit of noise coming. I don't know if you can hear the noise, but I want to make sure that the noise doesn't get too loud whereby you guys end up hearing it. So I'm just going to close the door behind me. All right, thank you guys. Okay, so let's see what you guys come out with. If you want to try and give a context, I mean, if you're feeling confident that you can provide a very good example, you can do. If you want to already try and go for the full context, then go for it. I mean, look, I mean, if you want to go with, let's say, this one here, this idiom here that we're looking at, if you want to give it an actual context, maybe something that you find difficult to understand, please do so. It's useful to me to see if you guys can actually use the idiom, because that's part of the whole process. We'll learn new language, but can you then use it yourself? So let's see what you guys come out with. I am also just going to add another one while we're waiting. And okay, actually, I'm going to go with three. So guys, you can pick whichever one, and let's see if actually, on the other hand, if you are feeling brave, you might want to try, and if you're feeling really confident, you could try and see if you could fit two idioms into one sentence. Stefano says, I need to wrap my head around the online way of attending English classes. Yes, that's a very good sentence. That's an excellent sentence. So well done, Stefano. Perfect. Well done. I think as a teacher, at the beginning, like when you first try to teach online, there are a few things to wrap your head around, and usually it has very little to do with teaching. It's usually more to do with how to use the program. Now Zoom, I think Zoom is quite good, to be honest. I think Zoom is quite easy to use. It's not too difficult. I haven't had any bad experiences so far using Zoom, so I think Zoom is all right. But there's a lot of platforms out there. So yes, but well done, Stefano. That's a good example. Feel free to try and come up with another one. If needs be, what I might do is, guys, I might end up writing an incomplete sentence with more than one. And in that, you guys would have to, actually, I'll do that anyway, while you guys try to think of your example. So, Okay. Evelina says, I need to wrap my head before I look English movies. Oh, you're really close. You still need a round. So I need to wrap my head around something before I look at English movies. So maybe I need to wrap my head around more English vocabulary before looking at English movies. So Evelina, very well done. That's you're really close, about 80% there, but you don't forget around, okay? Don't forget around. It's really important. Okay, so let's come out with this one. I'm just going to post this one. So okay, so here we come out with something. Let's see what you guys do. Can you complete this example? There are two idioms in here. Two idioms in here. And this is actually a sentence that you probably could use in class with another student, actually. So let's see what you guys come out with. Have a little go. And excellent. Very good, Evelina. Okay. What I would say is, Evelina, so if you think back to around, when I was talking about your example before, you'll need to think about around again with the sentence I've just posted. Okay. All right, guys. By the way, if you guys do get this one right, we're going to have to like the video because this is difficult. I mean, I know we've got people of different levels. We've got anything from elementary all the way up to upper intermediate. And idioms can be difficult, but it doesn't matter what level you are. You can always use some idiom. Okay, so Stefano says, as a child, I couldn't wrap my head around many things in life. So I used to talk to my parents for answers, but they would often pull my leg, giving me, pull my leg, giving me funny explanations. You just need to turn given into giving. I think though you were writing giving and you just forgot the G. But well done, Stefano. That's a very, very good sentence. Well done, perfect. Like the video for Stefano there on that one. That's a really good sentence. But guys, we've got this one over here. And like I said, I know that some of you are of a lower level, some of you are of a medium, and some of you are of a higher level. But the thing about idioms is, and take the idioms we are using today, I think we have, how many idioms are we looking at today? 1, 2, 3, 4. We're looking at 4 idioms today. Even if you just remember one idiom, that is one new idiom to your vocabulary, that can really make a difference. I would say less, if you learn less vocabulary or less expressions at a time, small, but you learn them well. So if you learn a little bit, but you learn that little bit really well, that is far, far, far better than trying to learn a huge amount and not learning anything. So we have an expression, less is more, and I would encourage that when it comes to learning vocabulary or idioms. So let's see how you guys do with this little problem that I've put over here. Your is as because because I'm having a hard time my head this language structure. Saying it aloud can help because then you automatically think, what word am I going to go with? What's the first word I think of? What would make sense? This is something called word collocation. It's a very important thing. I mean, it's one of the first things you start to learn, really, I know, in like pre-intermediate, unit 1, outcomes. When you look at jobs, there is a section on this sort of word collocation. How do you link certain words together? And you need to start thinking of, okay, if I think of this word, this is the other word I need to think of. And it helps you build your language. It's very good for development. So let's see how you guys do. We've got 5 minutes left of the lesson. We only have 5 minutes left. And then we just have tomorrow. And tomorrow is tomorrow should be fun. It's develop your English through music. So that should be quite good fun. There's a lot of options we could use with that one. And maybe we might have the opportunity to share some songs as well. So guys, let's see. You feel free to try and create using rap, boat, or pull. Or if you like, you can have a go at trying to complete this idiom over here. Well, there are 2 idioms in one sentence. Your is as because I'm having a hard time my head around my head this language structure. You see what I mean? I kind of already gave part of the answer there because it just comes out naturally. And that's what you want to get to when, you know, if you see an exercise like this, you automatically know what the answer, or you have a very good idea what the answer is. The word just comes out. You don't even need to think about it. So, I mean, that is where we want to get to. And that's where you want to get to when learning a language. Yeah. But okay, Stefano says, your guess is as good as mine because I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this language structure. Okay, guys, so Stefano has come out with that answer. Let's see if everyone else agrees. Maybe some of you agree with Stefano. Maybe some of you have a slightly different answer. Let me know in the live chat. And then we will look at the final answer just before the end of the lesson. We only have a couple of more minutes anyway. So I'll give people an opportunity to say if they agree with Stefano or maybe they have a slightly different answer. And then we'll finish off. Jorge says, your guess is as good as mine because I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this language structure. Okay, so Jorge agrees with Stefano. Okay, good stuff, guys. Well done. Thank you very much. Like I said, this particular one you definitely can use in class. You can probably use it with fellow students, for example. You can use it in different situations. It doesn't have to be learning English. It could be just about anything. It could even be as understanding a film. I don't know if any of you have, I'm sure you can all think of a film you were watching and you found it very difficult to understand. I can think of one film. It's an old film. It's with Tom Cruise. It's called Vanilla Sky. Watched it once, have no idea what the film was about. Evelina says, okay, so she thinks it's your guess is as good as mine. And my head, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this language. So you're quite close there, Evelina. You're quite close. I see what you were going for there. But well done. Very close. Well, I can tell you guys the correct answer is what Stefano and Jorge put in. So well done, Stefano and Jorge. Evelina, well done. You were very close. I think you were just missing 1 or 2 of the answers, really. But I'm very happy with that, though, to be honest. So, guys, thank you very much for joining today's lesson. Much appreciated. Please make sure you like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And for those of you who are watching, who might not have written, thank you for watching. If you watch this later, thank you for watching. A special shout out to Irina, Alejandra, Jorge, Laiz, Irina, Stefano, Evelina. I think I mentioned Alejandra. Yes. I think I mentioned everyone. Jorge. I think I've mentioned everyone now who's written in today's lesson. Thank you very much for all of you who have written in the live chat. Much appreciated. Thank you for interacting. And I will be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock, same time, with another lesson. And tomorrow we are going to develop our language using music. So that's always good fun. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Enjoy the evening, and thank you very much. I'm glad that you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you very much, Jorge. See you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.